welcome to the Fantasy Rewind podcast. I'm your co-host, Dylan Stoll, and as always, I'm joined by my friend, Mike.
Hey!
So today, after much delay, we are finally wrapping up House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 8, which is titled...
The Queen Who Ever Was.
The Queen Who Ever Was. A little shout out to the Queen Who Never Was there, who is no longer with us. But it's a crappy title name. A little foreshadowing for the episode. But we're just going to jump into the quick reminders here. If you want to get at us on social media, on Instagram, we are at Fantasy Rewind Pod. On X, we are at Fantasy Rewind. Or you can send us an email, which is fantasyrewindpod@gmail.com. All right, Mike, without any further delay, let's dive into the rewind.
Fantasy Rewind. All right, Dylan, this episode, the season finale of Season 2. Not the series finale, even though, season finale. What were your thoughts?
So, my thoughts, the way to best sum up my thoughts on this episode are to basically quote what I saw somebody else say about this episode. I don't remember who they were, or else I'd give them credit. But they just said, "What the hell did I just watch? I feel like it was a 1-hour trailer for Season 3 of House of the Dragon." And that is, to me, exactly what it was. Like, this episode did not have any substance itself. It just laid the groundwork for more and more things without ever, really giving you anything substantial. And it was a teaser trailer that was an hour long for a series that a season that we will not get for another 2 years.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. It really didn't wrap up much. It did wrap up a couple things. It really just set up a lot of different storylines.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully it wrapped up Daemon at Harrenhal. Thankfully it kind of wrapped up Rhaena and her, chasing down the sheep stealer dragon a little bit. Or at least told you how it was going to end there. But yeah, I mean...
So that she finally met with the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Well, kind of. We know that either there's two outcomes here. Either she bonds it, or she dies. If she was going to die, I think she would have died this episode.
So I just want to come out and say, she is the worst babysitter ever. Don't trust Rhaena with your kids.
Correct. She'd rather go after a dragon and possibly die than take care of them. And you wonder if that's going to come back at all.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't care what happened to these kids, but watch, these kids are probably going to get, kidnapped or something like that, and she's going to have to rescue them because she was off trying to find a dragon that would accept her after she's been rejected by every dragon down in Westeros, so...
Yeah, that one's not great. Also, we have the continued tension between Rhaenyra's son and the new dragon riders.
Because we got Hugh Hammer and, what's his face?
Slothy guy.
Yeah, Slothy guy, the white. I don't remember his... Ulf the white. There we go.
Ulf, yeah.
But yeah, all of the new dragon riders, the two Targaryen bastards that were able to claim dragons here, you just see that tension building and building between him and Luke. No, what's his face?
Luke?
Is his name
Jace?
Jace, that's it. Jace. Jacaerys.
Okay.
I knew it was, oh my gosh, their names are all so similar, like you say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacaerys just cannot, show any ounce of civility to these new dragon riders, and Ulf is making it hard to be civil because he is definitely enjoying the grandeur of his new position.
Yeah, and Jace kind of points out, are you ready to die?
Right.
And from what we've seen of Ulf, no, he's not really ready to. So I think that's definitely going to be something down the line here. But it's interesting because the biggest thing that happened this episode, right? Outside of Daemon swearing fealty and having his fever dream of I'm going to connect the dots to Game of Thrones, and that's why I'm going to, or the Song of Ice and Fire, and that's why I'm going to decide to follow Rhaenyra, because I realize this is bigger than me, is we have Queen Alicent coming to Rhaenyra and basically saying, I'm going to give you the kingdom.
Right.
Spare my daughter and me, and just let us go out into the sunset, right?
Well, she tried to have her son spared as well, and then Rhaenyra was like, come on, Alicent, you know I can't do that. You know how this has to end. And she finally accepted it and said, okay, I will, I'll leave the gate open for you, basically, at King's Landing.
Yeah. And, man, there was an issue I had with this episode, and that is, at the beginning of the episode, we see Aegon with a city burned to the ground, and, like, you
mean Aemon?
Don't realize... Aemon, yeah, sorry. You see Aemon with this dragon, and you're kind of just like, wait, what happened?
Exactly. No, I had that exact same question. I'm like, what just happened?
I was like, did I miss something?
Yeah.
And they kind of fill you in later on that he was just kind of upset that he couldn't, like, kill Rhaenyra, so he decided to burn a city to the ground.
Because he's stable.
Yes. And really what's getting pointed out here, and I think it was not touched on enough, is that, again, who are the people that suffer in this war?
Right. Small folk.
The small folk. And Rhaenyra is like, oh, like, we have to be ready to go burn down these people's towns. Like, you just had two small folk ascended to dragon riders, Ulf and
Hugh.
And so what are you telling them? You don't really care about them. Like, she's like, oh, but less bloodshed now, more like versus
more bloodshed now, less later. Yeah.
And, like, she understands that, but they don't. They're like, yeah, you're going to go kill, like, my family.
Right.
Basically.
They're like, yeah, sure, there might be less bloodshed later, but the bloodshed now are the people I know and love. So, like, you're killing the small folk that matter to me.
Or equating them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's already starting to rub a little divide, as well as Jace. There's going to be some conflict with it. Also, this isn't going to get wrapped up in a nice, pretty bow in 3 days when Keep is left open, because you already have Aegon.
Right, Aegon's hightailing it out of there with the Footman.
The Footman, yeah. You have Aegon escaped. You have... Oh, you had so many things teased. Otto Hightower in a cage. You have the Lannister troops marching. You have the Lannister brother overseas making deals to break the blockade with a slew of ships with a woman that looks like Cersei, but older.
Yeah. Some kind of a pirate lady and her crew and stuff. Yeah.
And he had children, and apparently going to have children with all of her wives. Right. The sea snake is without an heir, really, because his first mate, who is his son, is basically like, hey, you treated me like crap, and now you want me because your kids are gone? Yeah, no, thank you. And can't blame him.
Yeah, no, he told him to just go F off. And in no uncertain terms. Like, I will follow you because I swore an oath to, but that is my bond to you. I am not your son. You are not my father. Go away.
Yes. And I do think he'll eventually claim him, and he'll become the new heir to a house that probably won't exist very long. But either way, I don't know. I think we've kind of almost hit everything.
Well, I do want to talk about Daemon really quick here as well. So
those dreams.
Well, not just that. So Daemon, we see him receive the messenger from Rhaenyra, who immediately tries to say, "So Daemon, you're really raising an army. You're gonna be king, right? Screw her. Like, you got to be king. We need a strong male leader." And Daemon just smiles and laughs at this guy, and like never responds really. And then when the time comes to say, yes, I support you, Rhaenyra, my wife and my niece, and the rightful heir, or, nah, I'm going to raise my own army and take it for myself, he does the right thing and bends the knee to Rhaenyra, reaffirming his faithfulness as he always was in the books. And so it was one of those things that it was much ado about nothing for Daemon this entire season. And the consequence for that dude spreading like the whole rumors of we need you, Daemon. Like, take the throne to Daemon in private, and kind of not acknowledging Rhaenyra's power on the small council. There was no consequence for this guy being a treacherous worm yet. Yeah, I say yet.
Like, I really do think he's gonna. He was like, "Oh, I would never go to the green side," and I'm just sitting there like, "Yeah, but now you know that you like Daemon, who just, swore fealty to Rhaenyra, and even though you swore fealty again to her, I feel like he's gonna defect."
He might. I have no idea what might be changed from the book to the show. I also really just don't know, like, what they're going to do to fully extend this to be another 2 seasons.
I don't know either. Like, I feel like this should get wrapped up in 1 season. Like, 3 seasons
It's going to be
done.
2. It's got to be 2.
I know, because they're going to stretch it out, but jeez.
So I know how this ends because I've read the book, and I'm just trying to, like, think about some of the things that I know are coming.
Do you feel like they've set up most of it?
Yeah, most of it is set up. The one thing I'm not sure of, though, is, like, after the dust settles, like, how far they're going to take it. Like, is it going to kind of lead into their next series, which is going to be Dunk and Egg? Or are they going to kind of end it at the conclusion of this war that we're about to, like, fully see here? So, like, that's the one thing I'm really interested in. One more thing that I will just share here, because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but not much at all. So in the books, there's another commoner dragon rider, a small girl named Nettles, and she is the one who claims the sheep stealer dragon. They have merged Nettles' character with Rhaena, though, and I looked this up just because I wanted to, like, see for sure if we were going to be, like, getting Rhaena on this dragon instead of this Nettles character, and that's for sure going to be happening. Like, Nettles will not exist unless they, like, name drop her in a different way for the series here. But I don't think that's too much of a spoiler to say there. And it was funny because I was talking to Amy about this character, Nettles, and by the end of me talking about her, Amy was like, "Oh, Nettles, how cute." And I'm like, yeah, she's not going to be in the show. So it was one of those things where it's like, ah, dang.
Okay. Well, so Sheep Stealer joins the fray.
Eventually. That's going to happen next season. So let me just throw this to you, Mike. So we can kind of wrap up our episode discussion here, because there's really nothing more to talk about for this episode.
Well, I think maybe just one thing.
Sure.
And I forgot about this, but Dreamfire's rider, what's her face?
Oh, the daughter.
Not great with these names. Anyway, but it comes out that her premonitions are true.
Yeah.
She knew that Aemon maimed Aegon, his body does not work, including his junk. Which
his junk is gone, episode. Apparently. Like, that's been confirmed.
Blew up like a sausage.
Yep.
On a stick. Oh, gosh. Thank you for that.
Him and Theon can hang out.
We have her visions coming true, and we basically get told that Aemon will not be saved. We also get told that through visions, Daemon is going to die. It looks like drowning. So we have some interesting kind of those sort of lead-ups coming. And she refuses to fight, which I love. She's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, how have you killed? And she's like, go ahead. It won't change anything.
Yeah.
Which is great. And he's crying because he realizes, like, oh, crap. Yeah. We also see Sir Criston Cole. And it seems like he's pretty much just like, we're going to die. And apparently he told everyone that he's been sleeping with the queen. Again, that was something I was like, wait.
It's kind of like an open secret, I think. You know what I mean? Kind of like how Cersei and Jaime in the main Game of Thrones universe, where it's like an open secret.
Maybe it's because he was sniffing her favor. I don't know.
Yeah, a little creepy, a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, he's accepted that he's gonna die, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been banging the queen. What you gonna do about it?"
Yeah, doesn't matter. This war isn't about us anymore. It's just about dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to thought I could dispense justice with this sword, and now, what's the point? You saw it. I saw it. We're all gonna die. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. And I mean, it's so funny to kind of like talk about this episode in like such like a dismissive manner, but it's really what it deserves because nothing was settled. It was really, like I said, a trailer for what's to come, which we have to wait an absurd amount of time to even get to. So we'll see about that. But what I wanted to ask you before we get out of here is, do you have any predictions about where you see this going or what you'd like to see happen? Because since you have not read Fire and Blood Volume 1, you don't necessarily know what's coming.
That's true. Okay, so here's some of my things. First and foremost, we know that there's going to be a battle in the ocean with the blockade and this. And plus the blockade has to come down for the commoners to get food. So there's a multifaceted thing here with this, okay? Basically, they break the blockade, and then they form a new one with their own ships, the pirate ships or whatever, maybe. And because now Rhaenyra is going to be ruling King's Landing. And behold, guess what? Now the small folk are still upset because there's no food for them still. They're going to revolt. I'm not sure yet what's going to happen with that, but I feel like that's not just going to go away. That's been a theme all this series so far. It's like the small folk and all of that. So I definitely think it's going to build to it. Also, we have these armies coming from the south and this fabled brother who has purple eyes and whatever. He's definitely going to get into the mix somehow. We know that we need Aemon and Aegon to fight at some point Daemon and Aemon.
Yeah, Daemon and Aemon.
At some point. Because like, they've always been kind of compared to each other and mirror each other. Like, one's the younger version of the older. So they're going to have to fight at some point. So, and as I've said, kind of hinted at, I feel like some of these substitute dragon riders may end up going to the other side or just vacating, because there's definitely some like tension there, right? And so I'm interested to see kind of what happens with that, because we know that after this event, there really aren't any dragons. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there really aren't, because like after this is when it sort of leads into eventually Game of Thrones, and whatever dragons they had were like small and nothing like these. The only ones like these are the ones that Daenerys hatches with her body, because she's the mother of dragons. But so I'm interested to kind of see how all that sort of connects. Not sure yet, but we know this is Game of Thrones. Lots of people are going to die. So I'm just going to go off and say that pretty much everyone's dying, and it wouldn't surprise me if the people left alive are Sea Smoke's rider, and he's now the new head of House Valerian. Who else can live? Someone who we wouldn't... The White Snake becomes the queen. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be something. Or, you know what? Since we're going with random not side characters. Well, yeah, kind of side characters. Footman. He becomes the new king. There you go. Somehow.
Footman the first.
Yeah, sniffing feet since 93.
Like 93 AD or 93.
Yeah, 93.
Nothing else in front of it.
Just 93.
Well, I'll tell you this. So, I think that you're right on, like, this is Game of Thrones universe. Like, lots of people are going to be dying here. I think, that's a safe bet to make there. I think that some of your predictions... Yeah.
They made the poison... or Daemon made the poison comment. Don't know... I don't think it would be him who gets poisoned. Like, I feel like that's too on the nose. But one of these riders is going to get poisoned, too. That came up... That stuff does not come up without it actually paying off at some point in time.
So, like I said,
I can't wait
some of what you brought up there, Mike, is fairly close to what might happen. Some of it's very far away from what might happen. I will tell you, though, that one of the things that you are absolutely right on, and I don't think this is a spoiler for me to say, it's that dragons are non-existent in the world of Game of Thrones as we were first introduced to it.
Something has to happen.
Something has to happen. All right, but with that being said, I think that's going to conclude our coverage of House of the Dragon Season 2, and we will move into Rings of Power Season 2.
Yeah, I already watched episode 1.
Me too. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that and talk about that on a separate episode. But This is going to be two nerds signing off. Bye.
See ya.